Today we are going to talk about fun in our ballet classes. And if you're like me, class is fun. Class is fun. I love doing bar, I love center, I love allegro, I love almost all of it. Everybody's got that one thing, but like class is fun. But not everyone is wired like me. Since we are in the month of December right now, at some point this month, you will have a last class before your winter break. And depending on the culture at your studio, like it might be a regular class, but you might need some fun options. So here we go. Just a couple of disclaimers. I do not remember ever having a party in class as a dance student. I don't remember ever playing ballet games. So students will be like, can we play ballet games? I'm like, I don't understand the concept. Go do some pliés. I don't know if I had a weird training growing up. I don't know if things have just changed, but yeah, I don't have any childhood memories to be drawing from here. This is all new research for me. So there are kind of two basic camps around having fun in class. And the first definition of fun is a party. I cannot help you there. I don't even want to help you there. If you're looking for party throwing tips, this is the wrong channel. But we also can use fun as an approach to learning, as a way to enhance learning. And if that's what you're interested in, let's get into this. The first thing we need to do so that we can plan the lesson is decide what your one objective is. If you're using play, you really need to keep your goals for the class very simple, like your technical goals. The first thing you could be planning your class around is your key principle for the year. In the Geeky Ballerina curriculum, every single level has a key principle, and that's what we focus on every day, all year long. And when you know your key principle, it gives you a lot of space to be flexible in your lesson plan and still know that you are making progress. Another approach would be, what is your key vocabulary? And that can be the key vocabulary that you are working on for the entire year, and that would coordinate with your key principle. It also could be the key vocabulary as in, what is the new vocabulary we're working on this unit that is having the most trouble? Or what is the one vocabulary that I thought we had really well, but we really need to be refining? So you can organize your lesson around one vocabulary. Another key objective for your class could just be wanting to hear laughter in your classroom. This time of year is particularly rough because a lot of our students are also students in traditional school, and it's the end of the semester and they have a lot going on and they are stressed and they are tired, and maybe you just want to hear some laughter. Along those same lines, sometimes we come in and it's the last class before the break, and I want to come in and teach a really hard, awesome, super meaty class. But then, you look around the room and you see your students and you think, no, these kids need a break. That's super, super valuable in Nutcracker season. If you're at a competition studio, when you get into the middle of your competition season, if they had a full weekend of competitions last weekend and they have a full weekend of competitions this weekend, and you are teaching on a Wednesday or a Thursday, you might need a physical change of pace, but a way that keeps the learning going. You've picked your key objective for the day. Let's walk through some basic planning ideas and tips. So for example, if you've decided that you want to make your objective the key principle for the day, your year's key principle, in the Geeky Ballerina curriculum, we're going to use level 6 as our example today. And the key principle for level 6 is weight transfer. I know we've been doing weight transfer since day one, but the reason we come back to it in level 6 is because we have already refined stability, aplomb, épaulement. We've really refined their turnout. And now that we're in level 6, we expect all of those elements to be maintained through all movement. So that's why transfer of weight comes back in level 6. When you're planning a lesson around your key principle, really what you're just asking yourself is, how many different ways can I make this happen? So for transfer of weight, we have really traditional options like glisse and tablier and walking and chasse, really, really traditional ways to do it. But you also can get pretty far out of the box. For example, do you have to be holding your weight on your feet? Can you transfer your weight from your feet to your hands? Don't worry, like you don't need to have a super strong contemporary background to be able to bring this into your class. What about like moving from standing to sitting and standing again? That is a transfer of weight that we probably don't spend a lot of time on in level 6 because we did it in level 1. We stretch forward in a plie all the time. All the time. When was the last time you didn't? What if you added a crow pose from yoga? I am not qualified to teach yoga, but I'm absolutely qualified you could do it. From the stretch, plant your hands to the ground. You get your knees like up by your shoulders, and then you rock forward. And then you finish your stretch, and you come back up. You also could do that from your grand plie. It just takes a minute. Don't get fussy about the counts. Because unless your kids are amazing, they need a minute to do that. Another option would be in your rond de jambe. You know, you do your rond de jambes, yay, everything's happy. And then you transfer your weight to the ground, however you want to get there. Nice and pretty, like you did with the littles. And then from here, you get to repeat the rond de jambe, laying on your side. Grand-battements. You could do grand-battement als cone standing. And then if you're a really nice person, you can repeat it in a turned out plank. And then if you're a really nice person, you repeat it again, like really, really nice, you repeat it in a side plank. When you're organizing your class around a key vocabulary, I like to be in charge of the bar myself, and then I let the students create the center combinations. So for level 6, the key vocabulary is grand jeté because it is a very advanced application of transfer of weight. Remember how I said those two things should relate? Yeah. So I keep my bar short and simple. It is a warm-up bar because when you give kids a chance to create the combinations and then teach them to each other, it takes a lot of time. So short, quick, but definitely adequate warm-up bar. And then I have the kids divide into small groups. I very strongly recommend small groups, like 3 people. 2 or 3 people is kind of ideal in my mind. I do allow 4. I don't go any bigger than that because it's really hard to make decisions in large groups. And if they can't make decisions about the combination they're creating, it's never gonna get done. So you have your small groups. And then you can either assign or you can have the different center combinations written on slips of paper and have them like draw from a hat. You distribute the combinations for the second half of class throughout your groups. And then they have 2 parts in their assignment. They need to create a combination that honors the purpose of the combination. So if they are assigned adagio, it has to be an adagio. And then it also has to include the key vocabulary for that year or the day. It is a really good idea to put a count limit on this. 16 counts can usually get the job done, but I tend to say 16 to 32, absolutely not longer than 32, because the kids need to create the combination and then they need to teach it to their classmates, and then the class needs a chance to do it. And if it's like a center tendu, we can all do it at the same time. But if it's a grand allegro across the floor, you need time for that. If your goal for the day is just to hear some laughter in your class, be silly. Get really, really silly. The sillier you can be, the easier it is for people to laugh. In order to support you in being silly, in case silly doesn't come naturally to you, I have Googled the most common favorite animals, so we'll apply those. For example, the first one that popped up was cat. So you could do your pliés like a kitty, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you could include like meow. I'm a big fan of making people make animal noises because it's really hard not to laugh at yourself, you know? So you could stretch, if you have a really tight class, after you do your stretch, you could include like at the teacher, you know, be a cat. You could tendu like a horse. This is great for level 6 because they already know pas de cheval, so that makes a lot of sense. But even if you're doing it with little ones, you can tendu, and then you can have a couple little prances, or you can tendu to the back and you can neigh. I'm telling you, the sillier you get, the more fun your day will be. Okay. The last one that I'm gonna suggest, I'm gonna look so stupid doing, and that's okay. The last bar exercise that I was gonna show was frappe, and the animal that Google suggested was a dolphin. So here we go. You do your frappes and then petite battements, but make the little dolphin sounds. It's actually, oh, I just woke up my dog. It's harder than it looks to be doing that with your voice and then keeping the timing with your feet. I highly recommend it. When you're looking at your students and they just need a physical change of pace, they need a physical break, there's a few different ways to do it. You could do a really brief but thorough warm-up and then learn a variation. You could transition your class into more of a stretching and recuperative class, depending on their schedule. If they already have a flexibility class, that may not be the best choice because you can't overstretch. But if they don't have flexibility regularly built into their schedule, that can be a really good day for them. You can shift your focus to more of a ballet history type thing. I love teaching ballet history. It's one of my favorite things to teach, and I hardly ever get a chance to. You also could just pull out all the props and teach a little baby level class, but just with really high standards. Using level 6 as the model, if you wanted to do a variations-based class, there are a few variations out there that really showcase leaps. Not necessarily grand jeté with the brush. That one doesn't get shown off as much. Most of it is the développé. But, you know, at some point, a leap is a leap is a leap. And we're talking about weight transfer through the air in a really big way. The Paquita Act 3 Jump Girl is a really good variation. Laurencia, the wedding variation, is a really good one. Gamzati from La Bayadere also has a lot of leaps in it. There are definitely variations out there that can help reinforce your vocabulary without you ever needing to say a word. If I was teaching a stretch class and the key vocabulary was grand jeté, we need to make sure they have their flat splits. That one's pretty easy. Most dancers focus on hamstring flexibility, so they have that. What they forget about is that there's also a back leg involved in that split. So when I'm working with people on their splits, I like to focus mostly on the hip flexors. So a really good hip flexor and internal rotation stretchy class actually does support that vocabulary. But again, you're never going to need to say a word about it. If I was taking a ballet history approach to grand jeté, there's a couple different directions you can come at that from. You can trace the evolution of grand jeté, like starting with ballet de cour where it's all terre à terre, and then, you know, trace the evolution of the jump until we get to where we are now, both in height and split. Or you could focus on the classical era, which really is when the high extension and the flat split became the norm and the expectation. Speaking of ballet history, now that I have the full Geeky Ballerina curriculum available on my website, both in full and also in divisions, so beginning, elementary, intermediate, and advanced divisions, I'm trying to decide if it would be more helpful to produce my point curriculum that I use, or if it would be more beneficial to introduce a ballet history curriculum. So let me know, like comment, what would be more helpful for you? If you're doing a baby class, the leaps are going to be in there. I should say, if you're doing a baby class with your level 6 kids, the leaps are going to be in there. You're going to be tossing scarves through the air. You're going to be doing an obstacle course. Whatever it is you do with your itty bitties, you're going to do with your level 6 kids. You're just going to expect a higher level of refinement, and you're going to get it. Those are just a few ideas for how you can use fun as a teaching tool, so that your day can be unusual and unexpected and recharging, but also continue the momentum that you've built this year. If you have already signed up for my newsletter, this month's newsletter includes a few games that are also educational, but they're actual ballet games. I'm so proud of myself. I know some ballet games now. This is personal growth. If you didn't sign up for my newsletter yet, but you want to be included in the future, it's a monthly newsletter. It's free. You can sign up for that on my website, geekyballerina.com. That is also where you can find the Geeky Ballerina curriculum. Again, it is now available in full or in the 4 divisions. If you like this video, please share it with someone. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good things. Share with your friends. But most importantly, I hope you have a really great class.